Alright, welcome back. This next video we are continuing to make some mathematical art based on transformations of functions. And in the first video what we did is we created an initial form that will serve as the base of the artwork. And now what we're going to do is we're going to use a technique to apply one transformation to this initial form by modifying a parameter. Okay, so let's ask ourselves, what is the parameter of this function that we want to vary? So let's bring back our function that we had. All right, remember we had a. It was good that we wrote these down. A was negative 2.8, B was 1, H was negative 2, and K was also negative 2. This was our shape. And what we want to do is we want to vary one of these parameters, which of our parameters we want to vary, and what's the range of motion that we want. So when I was playing around with this, I thought this was fun. This kind of looks like a bird flapping its wings. So what I'm realizing is I want this parameter A to vary, and I have to specify where I want it to vary. So let's say we vary from negative 4 up to negative 2. So that's a range of motion for this parameter A, and that's going to tell us what we want to do in our work. So what we're saying is it would be nice if this looked like a bird flapping its wings. And so once we know what we want it to look like, we have to talk about what parameter that is. What we see is that the parameter is the A parameter, and we want to know what range of values we want it to take on. We want it to take on the values from negative 4 through negative 2. Right? The numbers negative 4 is the lower bound and negative 2 is the upper bound. And we want A to take on those values. So the way we're going to do that is we're going to create a list. So let's create a list. The list is going to be, we're going to call it capital A since it's going to replace the little a. And we want this list to start out at negative 4. And we want it to go up to negative 2. If you just, so what we're doing is we're using this dot 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 notation. If you just do negative 4 dot 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 negative 2, that's going to give us all the integers starting at negative 4 going up to negative 2. But I'd like more pieces than that. I'd like it to really maybe, why don't we start at negative 4 and we'll go up by steps of 0.1. So we're here at negative 4, the next step is negative 3.9, the next step is negative 3.8. These are all increasing by steps of 0.1. All right, and because we started out at negative 4 and increased to negative 2, and we used this negative 3.9 in here, then Desmos knows that the step size, this increment from piece to piece in the list, from entry to entry in the list, is 0.1, because it's the difference here between negative 4 and negative 3.9. And so we've done the hard work already. We know that this is our function here, right? This was our function y. Let's go down here. We're going to we're going to copy this down and place it again, and now it's green. But what we're going to do is we're going to replace this a value, which we said was negative 2.8, and we want it to be all these values. So we're just going to type a in here. Boom! All right, look at that. We've got all these different a values, which are all the different values from a is equal to negative 4 to a is equal to negative 2, and now we have our piece of art that's taken our initial form and it's applied transformations to it. Now if I just look at this by itself, I guess I look at it and I think this is kind of dense, everything's getting really bunched up here. We could change the density by changing the step size. So we could change this negative 3.9 to 3.8. And then that's the pieces every 0.2. We could change this negative 2 to a 0. And then we've got all of these things. We could change it to maybe positive 4. And then we have this kind of like a Star Wars fighter jet type of thing. And so that's, you can play around with the different values of A. One thing you could also do is type in exactly the values of A that you want. Maybe you wanted it to be negative 4, but then negative 3, and then negative 1, and then you want it to be 0, and then you want it to be 0.5 and 0.75, etc. You can specify exactly which values of A you want it to be. So let me put this back the way it was. Remember, we went from negative 4 to negative 3.9 up to negative 2. And I think that's enough for now. The next video is going to be a slightly more advanced way to do the exact same thing, which will pay off dividends when we want to take this to the next level. All right, see you in the next video.